Yuna Kuma, an ordinary rich girl and hardcore gamer, spends most of her boring life indoors, like yourself, grinding her favorite game. One day, she suddenly gets summoned into another world, with a cute but extremely questionable bear outfit. Kinda just too tired to question it all, she just accepts her fate and quickly realizes the bear outfit is insanely overpowered. She starts gaining a reputation fast, whether it's for saving lives or just looking unreasonably weird in bear pajamas. Now stuck in this world with no way out, Yuna figures she might as well enjoy it. In a faraway village, a boy, Kai, runs away at full speed and hesitantly entering the village, where all the adventurers are gathered, talking among themselves, some in need of new guild members, while others are discussing their next target. Kai throws open the door of the meeting room and yells that he needs their help, announcing that a black viper is attacking his village. The adventurers fall silent, thinking that this boy is delusional. He begs again, saying that his village needs their help. Just then, the guild lady comes out from the crowd and informs him that they will not be able to take the request. She explains that the adventurers are all useless like yourself and cannot take on a black viper. She asks if he's sure he even seen a black viper and maybe he just took some strange mushrooms. Kai screams that he's never seen a normal snake that eats crops and people for their own entertainment. She looks down sadly and says that all the adventurers capable of fighting the monster are away at the moment. Kai desperately offers her money, saying he'll bring more if they just come with him to save his village. But the girl only looks down, unable to give him an answer. Just then, the door opens and if life couldn't be any more of a joke for him, a girl dressed in a bear outfit walks in, asking if she should go help him. She introduces herself as Yuna. Meanwhile, in another world, Yuna is putting on her virtual mask and turns on the game. Kai reluctantly looks at her, asking if she's mocking him. There's no way someone in that questionable costume could fight a black viper. The guild lady also warns Yuna that black vipers are 50 kilometers tall and extremely dangerous. However, Yuna, not caring about this little brat's gibberish, asks if the village is far from Cremonia. The girl tells her it would take a day and a half by horse. Yuna calmly assures them that she'll go scouting in order to save the village. As she makes her way outside, Kai figures out if she's going to get off anyways, he may as well come along to guide her to it. Yuna summons her bears Kumairu and Kumu, surprising them, since bears are rumored to be the strongest but not tameable, then hops onto one and tells Kai to get on top. She reassures him that the bears aren't dangerous. Yuna tells him to show her the way, and Kai tries hard to balance on the bear while giving her directions. They follow the path and stop along the way to rest. Yuna suggests he sleep, but Kai says that reaching the village is more important, then apologizes for what he said back at the guild. He says he's sure she's an amazing adventurer and that it doesn't matter if he collapses, as long as they reach the village on time. Yuna quietly thinks about how strong kids in this world are. They finally reach the village. Kai starts yelling that he brought help, but Yuna stops him from saying too much, telling him that people are probably hiding in their homes. He rushes into his house, calling for his mom and dad. His dad is relieved that he's safe and asks about the woman. Just then, his mother breaks into coughs. Kai tells Yuna that his mother hasn't been able to rest and is getting worse. He informs his father that he brought an adventurer, but his father judges Yuna by her outfit. Kai explains that all the high rankers were gone. His father tells him that those who tried to escape were eaten. He then turns to Yuna and asks what she's doing here. Yuna says she's here to gather information. His father mocks her confidence, but Yuna calmly asks what he knows about the black viper. He tells her how it slithers around town, eats people, and reacts to loud noises. Yuna says she'll go to the nest to look for further clues and bids them farewell. His father asks if she's serious. She tells him that if things go bad, they can use her as bait and run away. Kai runs after her, apologizing for his father. She assures him that she just wants good kids like him to be rewarded. With that, she reaches the nest and sends her bears away. She follows the trail, thinking how a creature that big shouldn't have any place to hide. That means there's only one option. Just then, the ground trembles beneath her and a rock explodes. She smiles, saying she's finally found it. The black snake tries to bite her, but she dodges and launches an attack. When her initial attack fails, she switches to the next, but the snake throws her away. She analyzes the creature and realizes the problem is its skin. It's resistant to both magic and physical attacks. She considers using her trump card. She jumps straight toward the snake's mouth, thinking that if it can't be hurt from the outside, she'll go from within, but the snake dodges again. Yuna then summons magical spikes to cage it in, imagines her power at full strength, and casts bear fire directly at the creature. The fire punches through the snake's skin and it collapses. Yuna seals the snake and makes her way outside. She finds Kai along the way. He tells her that if she had been chased, he was thinking of becoming bait for her. He says he should risk his life for someone who came to save his village. She tells him she defeated the Black Viper and asks him to gather all the villagers. The villagers gather around the fallen Black Viper. The village chief, Zun, thanked her. Everyone praises her courage. A small celebration is arranged as the kids admire her bear outfit. As she is about to leave, Kai's father comes forward and thanks her for saving their village. She tells Kai that she should have come earlier. Kai thanks her again for believing in a kid and for coming so quickly. The next morning, Zun serves her eggs. As she eats, she says they're hard to find in Cremonia. Zun informs her that they're cocoa eggs from near the village. She asks what kind of bird that is. He tells her that, unlike normal birds, they can't fly high, make nests in the ground, and make noise in the morning. She wonders if he's just describing a regular chicken. Zun offers her more eggs to take with her. The villagers all bid her farewell. Kai tells her to take care of herself. Yuna returns to the guild. The guild master approaches her, saying they haven't been able to contact the high rankers and that he's planning to head to the village himself. Yuna casually tells him she already defeated the Black Viper, leaving everyone in shock. Then she shows them the proof. Later, Yuna gets up to buy and sell new items, trying to increase her account balance. Her grandpa calls her. She tells him that she doesn't want to go to school and that she gave her parents money for their vacation. Her grandpa tells her to come visit them soon. Yuna flops back onto her bed, ready to enjoy the game again, for a change of mood. The first VRMMO World Fantasy Online, where you can experience fantasy like it's reality, and the year since the game went online, Yuna had become addicted to it. She gets online, entering the game. The person receives her, welcoming her, and then tells her that the administrators have given a present to all the players who have been with them for a long time. Then she tells her to choose one treasure box out of hundreds. After some time, Yuna chose one box where she gets a bear costume as a gift. She asks if it's seriously her gift. The person receiving her asks if she's up for a survey, then asks if this world is more fun than reality. She answers that yes, it is. Then the next question asks if there is someone she treasures in real life. She tells her that money is what she treasures the most. The next question asks if Yuna believes in God. After a while, Yuna answers that she trusts herself more than God. The announcer thanks her as she enters the game. She opens her eyes and finds herself alone in a forest. She wonders how she has never seen this area before in the game. Just then, she looks down to see her armor but finds 2 sets of bear gloves. She nervously stands up to look at the bear set that she gained as a prize. She checks the stats to find out she is at level 1. Yuna starts screaming how she maxed out to gain her armor only to get stuck in this bear set. Just then, a notification from God appears telling her to enjoy the new world. He tells her to enjoy the world as her own and fall in love with it. She tries to log out, thinking it's a glitch, but suddenly a wolf approaches her. Yuna thinks how she has no equipment even if the wolf is for low rankers. She nervously grabs a random stick and throws it at the wolf, and that one stick is enough to get the wolf down. She thinks if the stick is some special item, but a cry for help attracts her attention. She looks at the NPC getting attacked by many wolves of the same rank. She throws a random rock at one, and it brings the wolf down with one attack. She thinks how she didn't even use that much force. She then approaches the NPC as the girl asks if Yuna is here to eat her since she is in a bear costume. Yuna takes her hood down and introduces herself to Fina. She thanks her for saving her life as Yuna smiles. Fina tells her that she left the town to grab herbs since her mother is sick and she doesn't have enough money to buy them. Yuna asks her to guide her to the town, thinking maybe there are other players in the town. Fina tells her to do something with the wolf since it will go to waste. She suggests that Yuna should dismantle it and sell the meat to make mana gems. Fina helps her dismantle the wolf as Yuna watches her. Yuna wonders when the game made this update. Yuna checks her level upgrade to level 3 and sees she got new skills. She finds out about the timeless dimension inside one of her white gloves resembling a white bear. Fina shows her the stuff as Yuna stores it inside the white glove. Fina takes her to Cremonia. The guard tells her to give 1 silver penny if she does not have any identification. The notification tells her about the transfer of real money, so she gives the guard a silver penny. They enter the Adventurers Guild as Uncle Gents gets surprised after watching Yuna in a bear costume. Fina tells him that she wants some items to sell as she tells him all about how she went into the forest to gather herbs and then Yuna helped her from the wolf. Gents scolds her for going there alone and thanks Yuna for saving her. He gives her 5 gold coins in exchange for the items. She gives half to Fina, who refuses since Yuna defeated the wolf, but Yuna still gives her money for her sick mother. She offers to show her the town and give money as guide fees. She looks over the town and sees how the town looks the same, but people and shops are unfamiliar and how everyone is staring at her. Fina tells her that she stands out because of her outfit. They eat at a popular inn as Yuna tells Fina to eat some steak. She refuses, saying she never tasted something like this and asks if she can take some bread home for her mother and sister. Yuna tells her to take whatever she likes. Then Yuna buys another set for Fina to take home. She goes away thanking her for the food. She goes to a hotel as the receptionist calls her cute. She asks for an empty room and checks in. She gets on the bed and sleeps. The next morning, she gets in front of the mirror thinking how she should accept reality because she is not her avatar but herself in the game. Then remembers the words of the person receiving her. She thinks about how she is not in a game but rather in a new world. She looks outside, thinking how nobody has tags on them indicating their status, then thinks how she doesn't have any reason to return to her old world and she should enjoy this rare chance. She goes into the forest and tries to use her new skills that she got after waking up. She starts roaming the new world and tests her new skills like fireball, water shoot, air cutter, and wall shield. She thinks about how she can use magic after imagining it, just like in a game. Then imagines a new skill as she destroys a rock with fire. Then imagines some weapons for herself that only work if she has the gloves on. Yuna meets Fina again as she welcomes her and asks if she is an adventurer. Fina says that since she is strong, she must be an adventurer. She asks if adventurers have to pay, but Fina tells her identity as an adventurer helps her get in and out of town for free. Fina tells her that Gents told her everything and she sometimes gets work from the dismantling guild. Yuna praises her for her dismantling skills at a young age. They reach the guild and approach the receptionist for an identification card as an adventurer. Just then, a big guy in armor interrupts her, saying a kid dressed up in a bear costume should not be an adventurer and that she'll lower the standards of the guild. The receptionist warns Reborn, saying she will report him if he causes some problems. But Reborn says how kids like her should go to their mother. Yuna asks if she should defeat a goblin to prove her strength, but Reborn mocks her again. Yuna turns towards the receptionist, asking if she can register to defeat the goblin talking to her, taking Reborn in shock. When he mocks her again, she asks if she made a mistake and instead he is a hobgoblin. It's hard to tell monsters apart. Reborn challenges her to a duel, but she defeats him with one bear punch, shocking everyone in the guild. Yuna then registers in the guild through a form and finally she gets her guild card. The receptionist tells her how gaining trust from other people and completing quests can lead her to have more importance. Yuna asks if there are any quests for a beginner. The receptionist tells her about the goblin and wolf hunt as she goes on to take the wolves. After a while, Yuna brings 40 wolves in total to the guild after defeating them. The receptionist gasps in surprise, asking if she did this all alone. Gents makes his way toward her, suggesting that she can trade the non-dismantled creatures in exchange for money. He tells her how he is an old friend of Fina's mom. He tells her Fina is doing everything to support her sister and mother, so he gives her dismantling jobs, but he isn't able to give more jobs because of the guild rules and suggests that she should hire Fina to do the dismantling for her monsters. Yuna agrees. She asks for more jobs since she needs some exercise before dinner. The receptionist tells her about an emergency quest about the tiger wolf, saying that it's a high-ranking monster. Yuna takes the job and defeats the tiger wolf in one go. But the wolf gets up and starts approaching the town. She gets up and starts running towards the wolf as the tiger wolf attacks Fina. Yuna attacks the wolf and kills it completely, then thinks about how she can't get any items from it now. Fina nervously tells her how she wanted to gain more for her mother but thanks her again. Fina starts crying as Yuna asks if she can make a contract with her and tells her about the suggestion. She tells her that they can work as partners. Yuna thinks how she is still a kid and still so dependable. Fina accepts her offer as she smiles at Yuna. Yuna rolls on the bed and wakes up. She looks outside the window, saying how it's going to be a good day today. She changes her clothes from her pajamas to the bear set. After that, she goes on the hunt as she takes down another pack of wolves easily, and Fina looks at her in shock. Yuna then offers the wolves to Fina to dismantle them. Fina does that with determination. One after another, she brings more advanced creatures for Fina to dismantle, but Fina apologizes, saying that these are too much. Jens informs Yuna that this is too much for Fina to do as she won't be able to finish this in one day. Fina says that she carefully does the job since Yuna is bringing them, so this ended up taking a lot longer than she expected. Yuna thinks Fina is so sweet. Jen says how the harvesting facility belongs to the general public, then looks over the crowd waiting for their turn. Yuna tells her to not worry about that. Yuna enters the guild as others around her talk about her being a bear. The people gossip about how she brought a pack of wolves and overloaded the harvesting facility, how she stands at the top of the food chain. Yuna thinks how rumors are getting exaggerated day by day. The receptionist calls her over as she tells her to stop her hunting in the Bearing Forest as it's the area for adventurers' hunting ground, and at this rate they won't have any prey. She asks if she is not a beginner adventurer, but the receptionist tells her that a budding adventurer wouldn't be able to hunt these wild creatures. She sits idly as one adventurer corners her, saying that she is the one who injured Mr. Reborn. She cluelessly asks who that is, to which the adventurer gets angry, telling her the one who she fought with yesterday. She remembers the goblin-looking adventurer. Gills comes from behind, taking Lance, the adventurer, away from her, telling him to stay away from her. Just then, a girl, Lorena, apologizes to Yuna on behalf of Lance's party. She tells her about the quest to hunt the goblin. She tells them with a flat face that she already defeated one goblin yesterday. Lance starts screaming again, telling her to not call that thing Reborn. Lorena says that he brought it upon himself. Gills calms him down. Just then, the receptionist tries to tell them about something, as Lorena tells her that they can't do much about the quest without Deborah since he has the main tank. Lance asks if they can forfeit the quest. The receptionist tells her that it would count as a fail. The party members start deciding and negotiating as Yuna makes her way towards home, but the receptionist points out, saying that Yuna has a tank. She tells Lorena that this is the last time she is helping them, then tells her to go away since she prefers hunting solo, but Lorena insists on coming along. She asks if they will be fine on the quest, as a pack of goblins can be dangerous. As they reach the mountain, she tells them that they should hurry to make the trip in one day. She meekly moves towards taking Lorena in her arms as she jumps towards the mountain to make the trip short. She locates the goblins using bear sense and finds out that there are more than 50. Yuna uses her powers and seals the cave, saying that goblins will suffocate to death. Lorena tells her to take the mana stones out of them as proof. Yuna tells her that she is still a beginner. Yuna leaves the harvesting to Lorena as she watches her from behind. She senses something, telling that there is still one alive and stronger. Lorena says that it must be the Goblin King. Suddenly, the sealing stone starts to crack as Lorena suggests that they should call for backup, forcing Yuna to cancel the seal. The Goblin King approaches them as Yuna hides Lorena and fights off the Goblin King, dodging its attack as she attacks him. After a strong attack, she finally takes down the Goblin King using Bear Cutter. Lorena tells her that it's best to take the corpse with them, as Yuna takes the corpse in her bear space. As they make their way inside the cave to hunt more goblins, they make their way outside after harvesting all the goblins. As Lorena comes outside, she finds Yuna sleeping in her makeshift room. Lorena wakes her up. Yuna cancels the home and says that they should go home now. Lorena says that she is tired. Yuna moves towards her with the same expression as her. She holds her up in her arms and runs towards the town. They show the Goblin King's corpse to the guild, shocking the whole guild. The receptionist examines the stones, announcing that the hunt was complete. She tells that she has nothing for the goblin and turns towards Lance, asking if she has more to prove her strength. She tells them that she has nothing to do with their party, but Lance stops her as he apologizes for his mistake. Yuna accepts their apology. She looks over her status board and summons the bear. Meanwhile, a black beast makes his way towards her as she gets on the beast and orders the beast to move and finds it fluffy. She comes along another wild creature as she gets ready to fight it, but the summoned bear comes in front of her and fights the wild creature. She summons another one. This one turns out to be white, but this one starts sulking. She starts explaining to him, saying she didn't mean to ignore him. She makes her way home on the white bear to make it stop sulking. She names the bears and tells Fina about them. Fina moves towards them to touch them, finding them cute. Yuna thinks about how she feels like an elder sister to Fina. They rest after a full day of harvesting. They move towards the merchant guild. She asks to rent some land. She tells her all about the lands and their prices. She settles on the land as the receptionist asks if she is Yuna, the famous adventurer, then shows her appreciation as the merchant guild. Fina tells her how they sell their items to the merchant guild. The receptionist offers to lower the price of the land. She tells her that she personally wants to be close to her. She introduces herself as Myron. They make their way towards the place, and Yuna imagines all the essential things a house would need and makes a beautiful house and gives Fina her own harvesting facility. Fina thanks her a lot as she starts crying. Yuna hugs her. Everyone starts admiring the Black Viper's corpse as Jens announces to start harvesting it, then instructs them to cut the snake into 10 parts, then further continue with the process. Fina admires the Black Viper, remembering the time when Yuna saved her from the wolf, how she defeated the wild creatures and built an amazing house for her. Jens gently teaches her how to cut through the viper's thick skin. Fina admires Yuna as she starts cutting through the thick skin. Yuna starts adding furniture and shoos the people away from her house. Just then Fina comes along, telling her about their complete harvesting of the Black Viper. Fina admires the furniture and gives her the hug with the mana gem from the viper. Yuna looks at the cut on Fina's hand and asks about it. She takes Fina's hand and imagines how to heal the wound, and after a while heals her hand. Fina thanks her again and suggests her to take a break tomorrow from harvesting. Fina tells her Helen's wish to see her at the guild tomorrow. Yuna says that it should not be something annoying. The next day Helen tries to stop her as Yuna tries to get away from her. The guild master approaches them. Helen tells him how Yuna is refusing to meet Lord Cliff Fasheros. Yuna says it can't be a normal request. She says the Lord might lock her up since the nobles lock away and kill people they dislike and take money from the commoners. But the guild master interrupts her, telling her to go upon his command. He tells her how Cliff is an amazing lord. Helen asks again, saying it will affect the guild's trust. She finally says yes. Fina looks at her sick mother, telling her sister she will be back with medicines. Yuna reaches the lord's room as she introduces herself. He tells how he has heard about her and how she defeated wild creatures. She asks what's the matter, to which Cliff tells her how he wanted to meet her and his daughter is particularly interested in seeing her in the cute outfit walking around. Yuna argues. Just then the gate opens as a little girl enters the room and introduces herself as Noir to Yuna. Yuna does the same. She tells how much she wanted to meet Yuna and asks to hug her, then proceeds to give Yuna a warm hug, calling her warm. Yuna tells her about her adventures as Noah shows her similar interest in the adventures, and eventually she runs out of adventures to tell her. Noah tells how she doesn't think she's lying. Noah requests to see her summon bears as Yuna shows her that next. Yuna tells how they're not dangerous and Noah runs towards them. She also shows her how to ride on them. Cliff comes along as Yuna asks if she should trust Noah that much. Cliff tells how his daughter seems to believe in Yuna and asks if he can ride the bears as well. Then both father and daughter take a ride on the bears. Noah finally falls asleep as Cliff tells her about His Majesty's 40th birthday celebration next month, and asks if he could take the mana gem from the Black Viper to impress the king, and will compensate the amount, but Yuna refuses, saying that she likes to hold it for a while, then offers the sword she took from the Goblin King and gives it to him. Cliff says how it's a rare item and asks for the price. Yuna thinks for a while, then says that she would give the sword for free in exchange for a favor. She tells him to help in case she finds herself in something troublesome. Cliff asks if that is all she wants, then promises her to help whenever she needs it. Fina runs along the streets to help her mother. Yuna tries to leave as Noah asks if she could spend the night. Yuna promises to visit again and then makes her way to the town, but the rain starts to pour. She finds Fina on her doorstep. She approaches her, but Fina turns around saying that her mom is sick, saying that the medicine is not working and she does not know what to do. Yuna visits Fina's home and sees Tiermina, Fina's mother, in critical condition. Jens comes along telling that he couldn't find some new medicine. The kids start crying seeing their mother in this condition. Yuna thinks how she can probably heal her with her magic, then concentrates on imagining how to heal her. She tries her spell on Tiermina as she opens her eyes, regaining consciousness, but then trembles in pain again. Yuna thinks about how the illness isn't fully gone. Tiermina gets up telling Yuna that she heard a lot about her from Fina, telling her to rest. She asks her children to come closer to her as she admires their faces, then apologizes, saying that she couldn't do much for them, telling them that she loves them a lot. Yuna watches the scene thinking how she cannot give up and tries her magic trick again, but it doesn't work much. Tiermina thanks Yuna for letting her see her children for the last time. Yuna says how this isn't the last time, and tries to imagine the healing power in depth and full detail as it strengthens her spell. She thinks how she should imagine the source of illness to vanish instead of trying to heal her, and finally imagines it, trying the spell on her. Tiermina opens her eyes saying that it doesn't hurt anymore. Everyone asks if she truly is okay and she tells them how it doesn't hurt to breathe anymore. She gets up on her feet as her children hug her. Jens cries a little while hugging her. Yuna instructs her to keep everything light and rest. Fina introduces her little sister Shuri to her. As Yuna tells her that she dresses up as a bear as her hobby, Fina tells Shuri how Yuna is her lifesaver. Yuna says how Fina saved her life too and how she continuously helps her. Shuri excitedly asks if she can hug her and Yuna lets her. Jens says how he will pay her back for Tiermina's treatment, and if it isn't enough he will borrow money and then pay her. But Tiermina says how she can't burden him anymore and she will make sure to pay her. Fina also says that she will pay her fully. Yuna thinks about how they are making her feel like she is the villain here. Yuna tells them how she doesn't want any money and how she treated Tiermina because of Fina, saying that she was happy helping them for free. Fina sincerely thanks her as Yuna thinks protecting their smiles is more important than the money. Shuri hugs Tiermina as Fina stops her, saying that their mom needs to rest, but their mother interjects, saying that she needs to move her body in some way, so it's fine. Yuna says for that she has to eat well, something like eggs. The three of them start fantasizing about runny, soft, and delicious eggs. Fina tells her how it's so hard to find eggs in Cremonia. Yuna thinks about that at night, how eggs are rare in this world as an ingredient, then remembers the village where Zuyu offered her eggs. She thinks about how she could make the journey there fast since she wants to eat eggs as well. She looks at her status board thinking if she got new skills from defeating the Black Viper, then finds out about the bear transfer gate. Yuna visits Kai's town, thinking how she bid him farewell, but she is back here again. Kai tells her how she is welcome anytime and gives her a basket full of eggs. Yuna tells him that she will be back to buy more from him again very soon. Kai informs her how he can't take money from someone who saved his village. Yuna teaches him how these two are two different things and how matters with money can't be handled lightly. Saying that, she goes along to the town. Kai notices how Yuna is going by her feet rather than her bears. Yuna enters a cave, saying how no people and monsters wander this area, and then activates her bear gate there. She opens the gate to her home in a second and greets Fina. Fina greets her back, showing the harvesting for today. Yuna praises her for improvement in Fina's skills and gives the basket of eggs to her as a little bonus. Fina refuses profusely, but Yuna insists, saying that her mother needs them for nutrition. Fina tells her that she can't accept something so expensive. Yuna tells how the expenses are because of its careful travel rather than the egg's actual price, and since there was no transportation involved, these are free. Yuna shows the gate to Fina as they enter the part of town in a second. Fina gets surprised. Yuna tells how she can go anywhere just by imagining the place where she wants to go. The only annoying part is that she has to install the gate first. She asks if Fina knows any instant transportation spells. Fina refuses, saying this is the first time she is seeing this type of magic. Yuna instructs her to stay quiet since she is the only one who knows about this trick. Yuna wanders around the town, thinking of all the ingredients she still hasn't found here, like rice and soy sauce. She buys the regular from one vendor. Her gaze travels to the children looking sad, standing in a corner. She asks about them from the vendor, as the vendor lady tells her about these children being orphans from the outskirts of the town and how they come here often for customers' leftovers. She asks if the town doesn't help them with money and food. The vendor tells her how things have been tight lately. She tells the vendor to make 30 more orders, but the vendor tells her not to show them one-time good, and how that won't be good for either party, but eventually gives in. Yuna gives the meals to the children and follows them to the orphanage. The kids all thank her in unison as she instructs them to enjoy the meal. The director thanks her as Yuna stops her and asks about the financial situation of the orphanage instead. She tells how the money from the Lord stopped coming a few months ago, saying that money is being wasted on unproductive facilities. So they've been collecting leftover food from the town to feed the children. Yuna transforms the whole facility using her imaginative magic, makes the beds, and provides meat for the children. As the director thanks her for that, she tells how all the food is her leftover from hunting a lot of wolves anyway. The children all start to gather around her and thank her earnestly. They bid her farewell. Yuna thinks about when the director asks for her reason to help them. Yuna told her how children deserve to be happy and she's an acquaintance with the Lord, so she'll file a complaint, or else she'll resort to violence. The director tells how this can affect their living on the land for free. Yuna thinks about how she wants to punch Lord Cliff even more now. Fina tells her how her mom is moving freely now and how she is looking for a new job. Fina tells how it could be helpful if everyone in the town would be able to buy eggs. Just then, an idea pops in Yuna's head. Yuna immediately goes and buys some land and accommodates the chickens from Kai's village to Cremonia. The next day, Yuna brings Tirmina along where she had made a home for chickens. She tells how she is bringing them news of a new job at Hello Work. She tells the children to take care of the birds and how the children should make them happy and look after them properly. The director asks if she is trying to run the orphanage by making profits from selling eggs, and Yuna tells how raising them will increase their population day by day. Tirmina asks what they would do if the prices go down. Yuna tells her how it is a huge advantage for the orphanage that way. She leaves the rest of the orphanage as the children all promise her to take care of the chickens to save their orphanage. The director thanks her as she makes Tirmina the representative and tells them to ask her if something is wrong. She says that Tirmina will be perfect for the job. As time goes by, Yuna builds a better home and coop for the chickens as eggs get sold at a rapid speed and children look after them. The town now enjoys the luxury of eggs. Yuna agrees to meet Lord Cliff as he asks the heavy question as to why she is not selling eggs to his family. He tells her that he confirmed from the merchant guild that Yuna told them to not sell eggs to the family directly. Yuna tells him that because the orphanage is producing the eggs, and because he stopped helping the orphanage because of his selfish reasons, she instructed them to not sell the eggs to him, saying that she will never forgive him for doing such things. She tells how the children had to suffer in the streets and look for leftovers, and now eggs are helping them, and now Cliff is here to ask for his share. That surprises Cliff as he tells her to wait, but Yuna doesn't listen. Cliff goes back, apologizing, saying they will meet some other day. Cliff orders his servant to look into what is happening with the orphanage's funds quickly and find the person who made him look evil. They locate the person named Ence Roland who has been embezzling funds for the orphanage. It also appears that many funds from the town's sectors are being embezzled. Cliff says how he should have paid more attention and how this is all his fault, and orders to bring Ence to him. Ence appears, pretending that everything is normal. Cliff tells him to stop saying empty words and asks about his embezzlement. Ence says how the orphanage is making way more than before, so they should be fine if they don't get the money, and it would be helpful if he gets even a bigger budget. Cliff tells how he is finding evidence of his crimes in his mansion. Ence starts bad-mouthing him as Cliff resorts to violence. Cliff personally goes to the orphanage, making them aware of the whole situation about the embezzlement of the facility's funds, and apologizes. He promises that something like this would never happen again. The director tells how they no longer need any funds from him and how Yuna has helped them enough. He also thanks Yuna, saying that he will take care of the building renovation. Yuna rolls in her bed thinking how she made Cliff look evil in front of his people without further research, and how embarrassed she is. Fina makes her understand how she helped the children and townspeople to have eggs. Jens finally asks Tirmina to marry him, promising that he would do anything in his power to support and protect the Tree of Tem. After a second, Tirmina says yes as Fina and Shuri come tumbling along from the door, listening to their conversation and hug their mom. Yuna also congratulates the new couple as Jens also promises her to take care of them. Yuna sits at her home thinking how it's such a good thing to have Jens protecting them. Just then, Fina comes bursting through the door saying that Tirmina is breaking up with Jens. She tells about their fight from the morning when Tirmina tells Jens to not put a lot of ketchup on his egg even if it's to his liking, just like he puts a lot of butter in his steak. She says how his negative habits can also affect her girls in a negative way. Gents also argues, saying how she should be able to handle his habits and how she also puts honey in her toast. Tiermina argues that she's just thinking about his health, and if they're going to be like this then they should think about this situation. Yuna assures Fina, saying they've known each other for a long time since they've been adventurers for a long time, so they should be fine. Fina still tells her about the snow crystal that they found in their young years, and if they could find that, they would be able to make them remember their old days. Yuna asks to bring Shuri along as well. As they make their way towards the forest with Shuri and Yuna on Kumauru and Kumakyo, Shuri embraces all the challenges with her childish habits as Fina looks after her. Yuna thinks how Shuri is much braver than Fina at such a young age. Shuri also helps Fina to go through a broken bridge as Yuna thinks how close they are as siblings. Once they reach the place, they find it all green without any snow. The sisters, determined to find the crystal, try their best to find the crystal, but when the sun goes down, Fina calls out to Shuri that it's time to go home without the crystal. Shuri says that she will look for it one more time, but instead finds an injured bird with bright blue color jumbled in vines. Fina helps Shuri to let the bird get out as the bird flies, leaving one of its feathers as a gift for Shuri. Fina suggests that she should give the feather as a present for Gents and their mom. Once they reach the home, they look from the window how both adults are still not talking, but once they get inside, they greet them and ask where they've been gone. The kids ask if they're still fighting, to which the adults just laugh. Shuri gives them the feather as Tiermina starts tearing up, telling them how Roy, their father, had the feather as his luck charm and wore this as an accessory. Gent says how Roy gave their blessing and assured the girls. He hugs them, promising to take care of his health and his family's health. Yuna shows the girls how to make pudding using eggs as they ponder over how eggs can be used in both sweet and savory dishes. Yuna appreciates their efforts as the girls enjoy a full day with Yuna. Fina tells them how she wants to go explore the world even more, like she did today with Shuri, and one day they could be like their parents. The next day, Yuna distributes the extra pudding that she made to the whole town, also giving them to Noah as Cliff asks for her favor to tag along with Noah to the capital. By the time Yuna arrives at Noah's place along with Fina, Noah is already waiting for her outside the house. Cliff tells Yuna about Noah's excitement, which makes her shy, and he laughs about it. Before leaving for his work, he entrusts Noah to Yuna for her safe arrival to the royal capital, and Yuna assures him of that. Cliff notices Fina and asks about her, to which Yuna asks if it's okay for her to come along. Cliff permits, but Noah steps towards Fina and tells her that she is not going to lose the bear to Fina. However, as they get along, Noah realizes there are two bears, so she and Fina get on Kumauru, and Yuna gets on Kumakyo. Noah and Fina get along with each other pretty well along the way, and they ask each other and Kumauru to take care of them. On their way, they come across 3 wolves, whom Yuna knocks down using her powers, and Fina takes on the duty to harvest them later. Noah gets surprised at the word harvest and asks about how they know each other. Yuna and Fina tell her how the two of them have saved each other in the woods at some point, so Fina helps Yuna harvest the monster after Yuna has defeated it. When Noah finds out that the two of them are close friends and Fina has been to several places with Kumaruyu and Kumakyu, she's devastated and tells Fina that she's her bear rival. As they resume their journey, Noah tells Fina about her mother and sister living in the royal capital, and asks if she has ever been there. When Fina affirms, Noah tells her about it being lively on His Majesty's birthday celebration. Soon they arrive at a place, and Yuna asks Kumauru and Kumakyu to stop and rest there. Noah asks if they're pitching tents, but Yuna conjures up a travel-sized bear house and tells Noah to keep it a secret. Yuna prepares them hamburg steak, which Noah loves a bit too much. Noah and Fina ask Yuna to teach them the recipe too, so she promises to do so. The next day, they encounter monsters attacking a carriage, so Yuna kills the monsters. The old man and the girl thank Yuna and feel confused by her clothes. Noah runs over to them and introduces the man as Count Gran Faringram and the girl as his granddaughter, Miss A, and introduces Yuna as her escort. After knowing that they're all going to the royal capital, Count Gran asks Yuna to let them come along, and he'll pay for escort services. She asks about Count Gran's own escorts, to which he replies that it's better to be careful since there's an unusual appearance of monsters here. Yuna puts it up to Noah to decide, and she agrees to Missa and Count Gran coming along. They arrive at the bear capital, and people are astonished to see bears. Nissa and Count Gran go their way after thanking Yuna, and as soon as the 3 of them step inside the boundary of the palace, Noah's mother runs over to her. They all get inside, and Noah's mother introduces herself as Elilora, so Yuna and Fina introduce themselves too. Yuna conjures up the box of the sword of a goblin king and tells Elilora that Cliff asked her to give it to Elilora so she can present it as a gift to His Majesty. Yuna then hands Elilora a letter that tells her she needs to be careful around Yuna. When Elilora asks Yuna to tell about herself, Noah starts praising Yuna instead. Shia, Noah's sister, returns home from school, excited to see her sister, but when she sees Noah and her mother riding the bears and Yuna dressed as a bear, she gets scared. They calm her down and explain everything to her, but she refuses to believe that Yuna can be an escort or an adventurer and calls her a young child. Therefore, Elilora put them in a spar with wooden swords. When Yuna wins easily, Shia asks for another spar, and Yuna keeps defeating her in every spar. Shia finally accepts Yuna's strength while Elelora asks Yuna of her age, which turns out to be 15. As Shia realizes that they're of the same age, Elelora tells her that she asked for the spar so she could help Shia get over her overconfidence. Yuna and Fina go out to explore the royal capital while Noah has to go and greet the other nobles. They feel bad about Noah missing out on the fun but decide to not ruin their moods and explore the place. After some time, Fina starts to get nauseous due to the increasing crowd, so Yuna suggests eating something. She smells some fresh bread in the air, so they grab some bread to eat, which they find so delicious that they decide to explore the market. Yuna buys a lot of potatoes and cheese, and they realize these aren't popular here. Fina says that because of the great celebration, merchants must have come from various places, and this made Yuna want to stay in the market for longer. Yuna makes hamburgers and French fries for dinner, and the family looks surprised. At first, Shia and Elelora refuse to eat it using their hands, but after seeing Fina's reaction, they eat it right away and find it quite delicious. Yuna realizes how she can even make pizza from the cheese. But they get confused, so she explains to them what a pizza is and how it is prepared. The four of them request Yuna to make it, so she promises to make it for the next day. Elelora suggests Yuna open a restaurant, which reminds her of Million's suggestion about it too when she once brought her something to eat. Yuna tells Elelora that it'd be too hectic for her to cook for many people, and she likes to eat more than to cook. A man is brought in front of the king, questioning the problem with using prisoners for the sake of science. He keeps on yelling about it until he is exiled by the king's order. Yuna makes the pizza and calls all the girls. Bewitched by the smell of it, they ask to eat, so Yuna instructs them to eat it with their hands and tells them to be aware of it being hot. As soon as they all take the first bite from their slices, they start talking about how good potatoes taste with cheese. Elelora arrives there too, asking what they are up to. When she sees the pizza, she quickly tries some and likes it so much that she again recommends Yuna start a business, which makes Yuna feel flattered. Noah comes to Yuna and asks her if she can borrow Fina for tomorrow, and at the mention of her name, Fina gets surprised. Noah clarifies that it is something for which she needs her along with Miss A. Yuna gives permission to them, but when she asks about their errand, Noah claims it to be a secret. Yuna realizes that with the three of them gone for the errand and Shia for the academy, she'd be left alone. Elelora suggests she visit the castle in that case. Yuna arrives just outside the castle tower with Elelora and is already fascinated by its surreal beauty. She asks Elelora if it is fine for her to get inside being an outsider, so Elelora assures her it is fine since she is accompanied by Elelora. After Elelora informs the guests about Yuna's identity, they let them in. As they step inside, the maids and guards bow in respect to greet Elelora, which makes Yuna curious about her job there. Upon asking, Elelora replies that she gives orders to the commander of the knights, manages documents, and sometimes gives out advice to His Majesty, and so on. She further tells about her wish to go back to Cliff and live with him. However, His Majesty and the Prime Ministers do not let her go. Yuna realizes that Elelora is on an important post when suddenly a little girl happily runs to her and clings onto her leg, thinking she is an actual bear. Upon asking, Yuna gets to know that she is Princess Flora, so when Flora says she wants to show Yuna around the castle, Yuna panics, saying they cannot make a princess do that for them. But Flora almost cries, so Yuna agrees to it. Yuna and Flora spend the day together doing various activities along with Elelora until Yuna starts missing the girls. Nissa and Noah befriend Fina along their way to their destination. After they arrive there, Noah receives the box of Miss Bear Fan Club, which she's requested, and they all take one card. Noah becomes the president while Fina becomes the vice president. Noah then announces that they should share all information about the Kumeuru and Kumakyu and instructs them to keep the fan club a secret from Yuna. Yuna returns to Fina's place and sees Shia practicing hard with the sword to improve her skills, so she offers to be her sparring partner, but she tells her to be there for her later when she's ready. Yuna then walks inside the house and witnesses the three girls having their fan club meeting, so she asks them about it, but Noah quickly hides the papers. Yuna visits the market the next day with Noah and Fina, where they come across rumors of people getting injured near the northern forest. One of the merchants tells the girls about such increasing incidents, which reminds Yuna of the attack on Miss A's carriage. Noah gets worried about her father arriving later in the day through that passage, so Yuna offers to escort him and heads off. Elelora goes to the king and requests to inspect the forest due to such arising incidents. Suddenly, a hooded person forcefully enters the king's room and introduces himself as Gulzam, a person who was exiled from the kingdom. He then confesses to being behind the monster attacks in the forest and claims it to be revenge against the king, saying there are about 10,000 such monsters under his control through magic. After he disappears, the king tells Elelora that Gulzam was a royal magician who sacrificed criminals for his research. He then orders her to contact the master of the Adventurers Guild, Sanya. Upon arriving at the forest, Yuna finds a lot of monsters in the area, so she decides to kill them all. Sanya, while examining the forest remotely through an eagle, informs the king about a fast-moving bear riding another bear in the forest. Yuna, along with Kumakyu and Kumeuru, defeats all the monsters until Gulzam appears in front of them. After lashing out at Yuna verbally, Gulzam falls to the ground spitting blood. Sanya informs us that the magic he used was a forbidden one, which has cost him his life. Suddenly, another huge monster appears, but Yuna kills it easily along with Gulsam. Elilora reveals Yuna's identity to the king and Senya, while Yuna explains the situation to Cliff and asks him to turn in Gulsam without mentioning Yuna, saying he found him lying in the forest while Yuna hides the monsters in her item bag. As soon as they arrive at the palace, Elilora quickly drags Yuna with her to the king. After she's brought in front of the king, she refuses to be the one who killed the monsters and Gulsam, but Sanya confirms her identity, so Cliff confirms too. The king bows to thank Yuna, which makes her realize how the nobles of this world are so much different from what she had imagined. When the king announces to reward her along with a public announcement, she panics and quickly refuses, saying she did all that to make her friend stop worrying about her father's safety. On the birthday celebration of the king, he has made Yuna prepare 200 servings of pudding for the celebration, which everyone likes a lot. After the party is over, Fina and Yuna stay at the bear house, where Misa and Noah come over sometimes. Yuna and Shia now spar with each other before tea time, and to the bear house, everyone comes by, even Princess Flora and His Majesty. One day over tea, Yuna asks Fina if they should return to Cremonia, which makes Fina sad since the two of them have not had fun together alone for some time, so she says that she wants to go out with Yuna before they return. Yuna agrees with Fina, and they go to the marketplace together to buy souvenirs for everyone. They enjoy delicious snacks, and Yuna buys a lot of bakery goods for the orphanage. While they rest at a hill, Fina asks Yuna about her opinion on opening a shop, to which Yuna replies that it would be too troublesome for her to cook a large amount every day even though she likes to cook. In addition to that, she is afraid that she won't be able to go on adventures after opening a shop. This makes Fina realize that she'd also lose her harvesting job, so she agrees with Yuna's decision. After getting hungry, they head to the bakery they got bread from a few days back. After getting there, they discover that the shop has permanently shut down, which makes them surprised. The shop owner, Morin, walks out, and upon getting asked, she tells about how she failed to pay back her debt, which she took from a shady place, and is losing the shop. While the woman is telling about how she even lost her husband to overwork in order to pay the debt, her daughter, Karin, storms out of the shop, saying she won't let the shop go. Seeing their situation, Yuna gets an idea and calls them over to the bear house. Morin and Karin prepare pizzas, pudding, and hamburgers with the recipe provided by Yuna. They all take bites from their food and find it extremely delicious, while Fina gets surprised at how their cooking tastes even tastier than Yuna's. Thus, Yuna offers Morin and Karin to work in her shop. Morin seems to hesitate at first due to lack of trust, but when Yuna gives them the bag of gold coins for travel and preparation costs, and tells them that she wants them to come to Cremonia to her shop, Morin asks why Yuna's being so generous. She replies that she wants to eat more of her delicious cooking, and this makes Morin accept her offer on Karin's insistence. After saying goodbye to all, Yuna and Fina, along with the bears, leave for Cremonia. Yuna goes to Mylene to buy a place for her shop along with Tirmina, who will manage the shop. After Yuna selects a place, Mylene decides to go look at the place with Tirmina. When Morin and Karin arrive at Cremonia, Yuna takes them to the shop, excited about the place, but gets shocked after seeing a huge palace-like building. Yuna shows them around while telling them it was a mansion of a noble. After telling them that there'll be more staff helping them out, Yuna tells them to go rest on the second floor, which is their new living space. The next day, Yuna brings a lot of young girls as staff to help out. While Karin and Morin instruct them, Yuna builds necessary things around the shop using her magic. After they are done with the day, Mylene asks Yuna to come up with a name for her shop to be registered at the Merchant Guild. She asks the staff for suggestions, and they all give names starting with Bear, which annoys Yuna. On top of that, Mylene says she has arranged uniforms for the staff, and contrary to Yuna's idea of a uniform, Mylene pulls out bear costumes. This again annoys Yuna, however, the staff loves it a bit too much, except for Karin, who feels ashamed about wearing one. Fina enters the shop and is surprised to see them all in bear costumes. Yuna asks for her help to come up with a name, but Fina's first thought is also Bear Shop, saying it looks similar to the Bear House. Therefore, the name of the shop is decided to be Bear Haven, and bear-themed cutlery is arranged. The opening day turns out to be pretty crowded and busy due to Mylene's advertising and the kids' enthusiasm to see the bear. All the staff and Yuna help out with serving and takeout in order to manage the never-ending line of customers. With the last customer gone, everything gets sold, and the staff slumps down onto chairs with tiredness, and Morin brings over a bowl of pudding for all of them to enjoy. Noah and Cliff walk into the shop, and Cliff tells Yuna about the interest rate on the debt on Morin being illegally exorbitant, so he punished them according to the law and hands Yuna the loan documents. Yuna shows it to Morin and Karin, telling them they can reopen a shop in the royal capital, but they seem to be worried about this shop. Yuna assures that she'll find someone else for this place, but Morin and Karin decide to stay here to serve the customers, saying this place is as precious to them as the previous one was. At night, Yuna stands outside the bear house and thinks about the nice people she has met in this world and all the friends she has made along the way. She wakes up happily in the morning, and after having breakfast, she walks out of her house. People are happy to see her around, and while waving to them along her way, she arrives at the Adventurers Guild to get a new quest for the day. Fina sits quietly in her room, the wooden floor beneath her feet cool to the touch. The gentle ticking of a nearby clock is the only sound in the stillness until her phone buzzes to life. She picks it up with a small smile. Yuna is calling. Her voice brings a bit of warmth, even though she's far away, traversing a snowy mountain pass. Fina listens with concern as Yuna describes the storm. But the confidence in her tone is enough to settle Fina's nerves. Yuna had been thinking a lot lately about everything this new world had offered: magical beasts, thrilling quests, good friends, and wonderful food. But she realized something was missing: seafood. Not dried or preserved, but fresh, ocean-caught seafood. Driven by this craving, she inquired about nearby port towns. One name came up: Melilla, a town not too far from Cremonia but isolated by a treacherous mountain path few dared to cross. Most wouldn't consider the journey in the dead of winter, but Yuna, accompanied by her loyal bears Kumeuru and Kumakfu, had no reason to hesitate. The snowstorm slowed her progress, but her resolve didn't waver. It was on this path that she came across a half-buried couple, frost clinging to their clothes, their bodies frail and near collapse. Without hesitation, she rescued them and learned they were from Melilla, returning from a failed attempt to find food in Cremonia. Their story painted a grim picture. Melilla had once relied on the bounty of its rivers and ocean, but an aquatic monster had taken control of the waters. Fish became scarce, and only the most daring fishermen could attempt to catch. Most failed. Without consistent food supplies, many had left the town, while those who stayed behind were starving. No help had arrived from other towns, as Melilla wasn't part of any formal alliance or trade route. It was as if they'd been forgotten. The couple asked Yuna to escort them back home. She agreed without hesitation. With the help of her bears, the journey through the snowy mountains was fast and safe. As they crossed the last ridge, a cold wind rolled down from the sea, and the fishing town of Melilla came into view. But what should have been a lively coastal village looked more like a ghost town. Once they stepped through the gates, the full weight of the town's suffering hit Yuna. The streets were quiet, lined with people too tired to speak or move. Thin, hollow-eyed villagers wandered around slowly, bundled in worn clothes that did little to block out the cold. Many of them looked too weak to work or even stand straight. Children sat on doorsteps with blank stares, too hungry to cry. Shops were boarded up, some long abandoned, others barely open, their shelves empty. The town square, which might have once been filled with the noise of sellers and buyers, now held only a few desperate voices. A small group of people huddled around a wooden cart where 5 tiny fish were being sold. Arguments broke out over the price. Some shouted in anger, others in fear. The fish were old and barely enough to feed one person, yet the merchant demanded gold as if they were rare treasures. Yuna watched the scene in silence. It wasn't just the hunger. It was the look in their eyes, that dull, hollow expression of people who had been pushed too far for too long. The local guild, skeptical at first, hesitated to accept such a large meat donation, thousands of servings from wolves Yuna had defeated on past hunts. Eventually, an agreement was made to distribute a portion of it daily. The villagers received food for the first time in weeks. Gratitude poured through the streets like sunlight after a long storm. But not everyone was pleased. The Merchant Guild, who had kept a stranglehold over Melilla's resources, saw Yuna's interference as a threat to their control. Yuna, unfazed, turned her attention to the sea. Her craving for seafood was still unresolved, but more importantly, the creature lurking beneath the waves had robbed the town of its lifeline. The guild explained the monster was massive, larger than anything the town had ever faced, and immune to most forms of attack. It lived in the water, rendering traditional fire magic nearly useless. Many had tried and failed to kill it. She tested her own magic near the shoreline, watching fire sputter out just above the waves. The ocean was calm that day, mocking her efforts. Frustrated but not discouraged, she returned to the inn to rest. Night came, and the bears stirred her from slumber. Something was off. Her alarm system confirmed it. Intruders had broken through her magical barrier. 2 men lurked outside her door, unaware of the fury awaiting them. Before they could react, giant bear paws slammed them into the ground, knocking them out cold. Yuna interrogated them swiftly. The intruders were part of a group known as the Band of Thieves, sent by someone within the Merchant Guild to steal her magical items. She extracted their hideout's location, and without waiting for dawn, stormed the place herself. The hideout turned out to be a seedy building near the edge of town. The thieves, lounging and laughing, never saw the storm coming. A single knock on the door was followed by an explosive burst of magic. Smoke and flame engulfed the area as the 2 bear familiars charged in, scattering the gang like frightened animals. Yuna cleared the hideout in minutes, leaving the place in ruins. The incident sent shockwaves through the town. Some feared retaliation, but the villagers, especially those who had received her help, began to believe real change was possible. The balance of power had shifted. Yuna knew this was only the beginning. The creature in the sea still loomed, and the merchants were far from defeated. But for now, Melilla had hope kindled by a bear-clad girl who had come searching for seafood, only to find something more important waiting for her: people worth protecting. As she gazed out over the quiet ocean that evening, the scent of salt and wind in the air, she reflected on how far she'd come. And though the monster still waited in the deep, her determination burned hotter than ever. The next morning, pale sunlight filtered through the guild hall's tall windows as Yuna entered, her bears following silently. A line of exhausted men, members of the band of thieves, stood before the guild master, bound and subdued. Yuna's steps were steady, her exhaustion clear in the slight slump of her shoulders. She had spent the night chasing these men, preventing them from stealing the town's food. Their captured expressions reflected confusion and shame. Their presence was proof of the merchants' cruelty. Yuna had watched them plotting in the shadows, laughing about how they would smuggle supplies out of the town under the cover of darkness. When she had tracked them down, fatigue washed over her fully, but she refused to relent. By sunrise, their plans lay in ruins. The guild master moved among the prisoners, inspecting confiscated goods, noting empty sacks and stolen coins. Yuna lingered near the doorway, listening to the quiet discussion. Her exhaustion pulled at her eyelids. Even her bears looked ready to collapse. The master paused, then nodded at Yuna, gratitude clear in her eyes. Together, they turned the thieves over to the guards, their work drawing a line beneath the town's suffering. News of the thieves' capture reached the merchant's palace. The chief merchant panicked upon hearing that his band was in custody. In a frenzied scramble, he grabbed sacks from the storeroom, gold, spices, strong liquor, preparing to flee. Guards intercepted him by the exit, and soon he too was bound and led away. The guild master and the guards had the evidence of his plotting. The town's eyes followed as he was taken. Within the guild hall, murmurs of admiration arose. Yuna, still pale and fatigued, managed a small nod of acknowledgement. She retreated quietly, her muscles aching. Sleep was a promise she would soon claim. Later that morning, after a long, much-needed rest, Yuna emerged for a late breakfast at the inn. The chef awaited her, offering a simple meal: freshly caught fish, warm miso soup, and steamed rice with soy sauce. The humble plate seemed to glow in her hands. One taste and a single, silent tear escaped, merging gratitude with relief. Broken yet hopeful, she continued eating, savoring each bite and letting the comfort sink in. During her meal, Yuna's thoughts drifted to the kraken that terrorized the waters, the monster that deprived Melila of its livelihood. She envisioned strategies: floating barriers, baited traps, magical heat lines, anything to weaken the creature. Sleep deprived, she felt ideas falling apart in her mind. Her visions of complex traps turned silly and incomplete. A deep breath anchored her. Rest, she realized, would sharpen her resolve. That evening, she accepted an invitation from Damon's family. They prepared a hearty fish hot pot, simmering with vegetables and local broth. The warmth in that small home filled both her belly and spirit. As she shared their modest meal, her mind hummed with plans not of confrontation, but of care and renewal. If she could win this battle, the children could laugh again. The fishermen would return, the market stalls would fill with food. Dawn after dawn blended into preparation. Brave and resolute, Yuna stood at the shoreline before sunrise, the salty wind tangling in her hair and tugging at her cloak. The bears flanked her silently, eyes sharp and alert. With steady hands, she secured a thick rope, anchoring it tightly between the strongest coastal trees and stretching it out toward the sea, marking the battlefield. It wasn't just a rope, it was a line of defense, a trap, a last stand. She baited the water by tossing a steaming, magical worm into the waves, a prize laced with her mana to lure the creature closer. Then, channeling her energy, she conjured lines of fire across the tide, shimmering ribbons of heat that hovered just above the surface. The sea steamed beneath her magic, the air heavy with anticipation. The town gathered on the cliffs, watching from a distance, their hope stitched into every breath. Fishermen, children, shopkeepers, each face held fear and fragile belief. A hush fell as the sea began to churn. The rope trembled. The water rose. From the dark abyss, a monstrous shape surged upward, crowned with writhing limbs and glistening scales. The kraken had arrived. Its vast arms slammed against the barrier of fire with a roar that echoed through the rocks, sending waves crashing toward the shore. Steam hissed violently as blistering heat met ancient flesh. Yuna stood firm, her gaze locked on the beast, her body radiating magical light. She pulled deep from within, igniting her mana like a forge. Bursts of power exploded across the tide, scorching the surface. The kraken recoiled, but only briefly, then lashed again with renewed fury. Coils as thick as tree trunks wrapped around the rope line. Yuna braced herself and flung more fire toward the center mass. The air vibrated with heat and energy. Sparks danced across the water, and the flames began to glow a dangerous blue. The creature's scream rumbled beneath the waves. She could feel her strength ebbing already, but there was no retreat. Her heartbeat synced with the pulses of the ocean, and still she poured her power into the flames, building a wall of magic that defied the sea itself. Despite rapid regeneration, the kraken surged. One massive arm was cleaved by Yuna's calculated strike, and as regeneration began, she channeled fresh mana into a new pattern. The town watched, breath held tight as the creature reeled. With effort and sacrifice, the monster faltered. The last great wave washed over the shore, and the kraken sank, motionless beneath the surf. Yuna savors a well-cooked meal as flavors melt across her tongue. The cooking, handled by Ants, the daughter of Melila's skilled chef, brings warmth and delight that briefly eases her fatigue. The quality reminds Yuna of how much comfort food can bring, especially after days of toil. Seeing Ance's dedication, Yuna briefly entertains the thought of bringing her to Cremonia as a full-time chef. Ance, however, shyly deflects the idea, pointing out the challenge of working with fish in a landlocked town. Yuna, never short on creative solutions, hints that transportation could be handled easily if needed. The suggestion gets passed along, and soon Aloda hears of it. Rather than giving Yuna more time to relax, Aloda assigns her a new task. Just like that, any rest she hoped for is swept away. Back in Cremonia, Fina waits near the town gate with quiet anticipation. Her thoughts swirl with worry and longing as she imagines what Yuna might be enduring in Milila. Relief washes over her when Yuna finally reappears. Yet, instead of resting, Yuna marches straight toward Cliff Fosheros's estate, burdened by unfinished duty. After recounting the events that unfolded in Milila, including starvation, corruption, sea monsters, and counterfeiting, she calmly reveals that she also constructed a tunnel connecting the two towns. The announcement leaves Cliff and Guildmaster Million stunned, as if struggling to grasp just how much one girl could accomplish in such little time. They all travel to Milila together thanks to the tunnel's ease. Once there, Guildmaster Atola greets them with courtesy but reveals her surprise and discomfort. She had merely expected help with negotiations, not the presence of Cremonia's lord. Yet, beneath her concern, she feels overwhelmed with gratitude. The crisis was averted, her people were fed, the corrupt merchants were taken down, the sea monster defeated, and now, permanent infrastructure connects their town to others. It's more than anyone dared hope for. News spreads quickly, and soon, the entire town starts treating Yuna like a living legend. People shout suggestions, asking her to solve more of their town's problems, some realistic, others absurd. Flustered and emotionally exhausted, Yuna retreats, claiming she needs to return to Cremonia before she completely loses her mind. Once home, she finds herself reunited with Fina. Their connection remains strong, and with the immediate danger behind them, Yuna remembers a promise she once made. Without delay, she prepares to take Fina and Shuri to the ocean, hoping to give them a true taste of its wonder. The tunnel makes the journey easier, and the moment they emerge at the shore, Fina becomes spellbound. The vastness of the ocean, the shimmer of sunlight on waves, the salty breeze, all of it takes her breath away. Fina is reminded of everything Yuna has given her. A better life, warmth, knowledge, new experiences, and a reason to keep dreaming. Yet, as Yuna is swept away by townspeople again thanking her, requesting help, offering gifts, Fina quietly begins to wonder if she still holds the same place in Yuna's heart. Doubt creeps in. They later arrive at Yuna's new seaside house, shaped in the usual bear motif, much to the delight of Shuri. But for Fina, the joy begins to feel distant. She lies awake, silently wondering if the world is changing too fast. Yuna, now celebrated by many, might not need someone as ordinary as her. After returning to Cremonia, Fina spends time with her family and resumes harvesting work with her father. She tries to convince herself that keeping busy will help clear her mind. But a strange emptiness begins to settle inside her. Yuna, for her part, notices the growing distance. Though she visits occasionally, their time together becomes fleeting and brief. When Princess Noa visits with a letter from Elelora mentioning that Princess Flora cried because she couldn't meet Yuna, Yuna quietly makes plans to leave for the capital. She instinctively invites Fina, but the girl declines. The words are polite, but her heart trembles. Yuna departs alone, a quiet ache accompanying her. Days pass. Both Yuna and Fina carry the weight of absence. Fina trains harder, trying to be more independent. She listens carefully to her father's teachings and works with steady discipline. Yuna, though surrounded by companions and duties, feels an emptiness growing. Noa, visiting once again with her energetic flair, notices the void almost immediately. She remarks on how loneliness sometimes sneaks in when someone close starts to drift away. It's a feeling Yuna can no longer ignore. Eventually, Fina's father approaches Yuna with gentle words. He reminds her that even brave girls can feel lost, and that ignoring one's emotions might lead to lifelong regrets. The advice resonates. That very evening, Yuna walks toward the outskirts of town, her thoughts heavy with memories. Fina, standing at the same place, looks toward the horizon. Her heart wavers between fear and longing. As Yuna arrives, neither of them speak right away. The air between them is thick with unspoken words. Yet, in that silence, something tender begins to heal. Yuna stands quietly, letting the breeze touch her face as she gathers her thoughts. Her mind drifts back to the life she once knew, a life where she didn't need anyone. She had always been strong, independent, and happy being alone. People were difficult, and relying on others only led to trouble. That's what she used to believe. But this world had changed everything. Here, she met Fina, a small girl with a big heart. At first, Yuna just wanted to help. But slowly, without even realizing it, Fina became a part of her daily life. She became the reason Yuna looked forward to the next day. From waking up together to sharing meals, walking through town, and listening to the quiet sounds of evening, Fina's presence had made every day warmer. Yuna realizes now that she didn't just take care of Fina. Fina took care of her too, in a quiet, gentle way. She brought a sense of peace, of belonging, that Yuna never even knew she wanted. Fina wasn't just a friend. She had become home. Fina listens in silence, her eyes wide, her heart full. Tears begin to fall from her cheeks. She had worried for so long, thinking she was being left behind. But now she understands. Yuna never stopped caring. She was just lost, like her. Without a word, Fina steps closer. She reaches out, wrapping her arms around Yuna, holding her tight. Yuna hugs her back, resting her chin gently on Fina's head. There's no need for big speeches or fancy words. The moment says everything. The waves crash gently in the distance, a calming rhythm behind them. The sky turns gold and orange as the sun lowers over the sea. They stay there, holding each other for a while, letting the silence heal what words couldn't. The road ahead may still bring new troubles and unknown days, but now they understand something important. No matter what happens, they will face it together. Because they aren't just friends anymore, they're family. That concludes the anime recap. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below and I'm out.